I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a great day. I'm so very excited to be here today to interview my special guest. Oh, yes, he's an author today because this is the author's edition. And we have an amazing author on the show. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Lincoln. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I live in Florida, in the Key Largo. I'm 73. Just had a birthday last week.
73, where?
Where what?
Where are you 73?
Well, all of me.
You don't look like you're 70. I would not have guessed you're 73. I'm sorry. I
Thank
wouldn't.
you. No problem.
Continue. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I got a degree in ocean engineering, 1973, and then I traveled around the oil business. I went around to Canada, Louisiana, Texas. Then I was sent to Australia in 1980 when I was 30, and I stayed there for 35 years. Formed two international corporations. I also, all those years, became a scientist. I was always studying and asking why, what's this all about? Why is this? Why does Louisiana with French people have Spanish buildings, and why in the dungeons of London do the devils have deer horns on them? So I was always asking questions and nobody could answer. But I would find answers eventually. So I pretty well morphed into a scientist. I've made a number of very important discoveries. Many of them are in this book too, Genesis 2.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
they're presented. But do you want to know about the book in general, what it's about?
Well, I want to know how you got to writing this. I mean, I see the pattern, I see the progression, but what ultimately led you to write this?
What happened was I had written two books before this.
Mm-hmm.
I proved that carbon dioxide has nothing to do with the warming of the atmosphere. Matter of fact, it all goes in the ocean, turns into limestone, 7,000 feet all over the world. We know exactly what's happened with the climate from the Greenland ice core. So all this crap about global warming, CO2 is total crap. So I wrote that book, and I sort of liked it. I liked getting out there and writing. And then I wrote a book about my life experiences, which when I was in underwater caves, we got run over by a 500-foot ship. So I was floating alone in the ocean by myself. So I don't know. I guess it sort of made me who I am today. Of course, I'm a lot smarter than I was then. I don't do stupid things like that anymore. Luckily, And so I don't know. But when I came here to the United States, I had to leave my two youngest children behind, Dylan and Victoria. And they were with their mother. And I felt really bad. And my business went through some bad changes. The girl who paid all the bills didn't have any money in accounts. So I couldn't pay for their private school anymore. And my daughter assumed it was just because I was a jerk. And so I wrote the book and made them the stars to sort of like make up for the fact I couldn't see them, and it worked. We're best friends now. She's actually a movie actress today as we speak, and she's writing screenplays now for bigger companies as well as acting. So that's what made me start the book. And then, of course, when I got into it, how do you get to Alpha Centauri? My God, it's 4.5 light years away. So I had to get in all my engineering ability and learn about everything about space travel and how they do it. And I discovered a new way using uranium. Just 300 pounds of uranium will fire up a rocket ship, can go for 1,400 years. All you need to do is add water for the liquid to be heated up and expelled. And of course, you got to get the water about almost 300 times from asteroids and comets. And each time they blast off each water collection, which is 3,000 tons, they get 7,000 miles an hour. So they do that 300 times and you got 2.1 million miles an hour, which is pretty fast.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, nothing out in outer space isn't even 10% of that. So I discovered all this. And anyway, during the research for the book, and then I made my daughter the person who, she went to CERN, which is the European European Center for Research. They have a big Hadron Collider. It's this giant tunnel, 10 miles diameter underground, and they use magnetic fields and electric fields. They accelerate particles, charged particles, and they smash into each other. And from that, they're looking for special subatomic particles. I don't think they ever find anything, to be honest, important all these years, But nevertheless, in the book, they had a center they wanted to test my rocket ship on a real small scale, the motor, and they made my daughter head of it. And from there, she goes to somewhere else, and she actually goes to the space station. Wow. And she works on the space station. This isn't just in the book. And ultimately, because they're interested in NASA is interested in the new motor system for outer space, and they get her. She's got all these credibility working at CERN, designing a real motor and testing it, and and experience as an astronaut and at the space station. She was perfect, so they give her the job. She goes. They're pre-assembled, and it was about a 12-year development time, and they're going to Alpha Centauri. They stop off to get water, just out. The first asteroid just outside of Mars. For some reason, she comes back with a guy, but the other two continue on their way for all these years. She comes back to Houston, becomes famous. Nobody had ever gone that far in outer space, and the spaceships were going great. And anyway, the two spaceships go on, and now it changes. And also my son Dylan becomes a computer engineer. And he works for Google and Microsoft before, and he helps develop the computer to the specifications they need, and it's called Google on Demand, or God, right? So the computer is called God. And okay. So all these people and the people that grow up in the future will think God is a computer, and because it answers all their questions and stuff. So you can put a humor in the book as well, make it interesting. Anyway, it goes on for all those years, and the people have children. The water from the asteroids, they have water, they grow crops, they have ultraviolet light, they got energy, and they last all those years. And then they actually land, and that's the end of this book.
Wow. I mean, it seems so real, like as if that could really truly happen.
It could.
I absolutely love it, because I was already into it. I thought you were telling the truth, like you really truly, and she was really truly, that's really cool. That's really cool.
It's 1,400 years, and people don't people want to be involved from the start to the end. I think that would be the biggest reason. I also think nobody's ever thought about this before. All of the other space engines I developed in the first chapter, and I see how they would never work. For a big rocket ship holding, 6 people. And so anyway, I'm sure I'm no genius. I'm sure somebody would discover the idea eventually anyway.
Definitely. I think that's amazing. And what you've done is you've written a book also for your mental health and the relationship between you and your children. That to me is just wonderful as well. That's wonderful. So what about any future books? I mean, this is book series number 1, so it's a trilogy. So you have 2 other books.
2 and 3 are finished. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. This is book number 2.
Uh-huh.
All right, and you can see here, this is Earth and the sun. I don't know if you can see that little dot there. Mm-hmm. You see how far away it is? Oh,
I see it.
This is Alpha Centauri. This is one of the planets that we've discovered not me personally, but a scientist going around Sun A and Alpha Centauri, which you can't see because it's up here in the foreground, right? Mm-hmm. And there's another little star called Alpha Centauri B, which is this one, which goes around, and it's more like a moon than a sun. So that's essentially, this is the world I've created. It doesn't really look like that. We don't know what it looks like that.
I got you.
And yeah, and in the second book, this is the rocket ship, which lands. To give you an idea. This is later on they develop one of the continents called Nadia Land. There's 4 continents, all named after the original captains of the ships: Nadia Land, Palma Land, Boris Land, and so on. And then in the book is all about them, making babies, raising kids, raising food, going hunting, discovery, exploring, going down rivers, sailing to other continents, and they do discover primitive humans in one continent, and which they let Earth know, and everybody on Earth's going crazy because the Christians, that's impossible. Christians are only on Earth, you know. There's no other, God didn't put any people on any other body out in space. So they're all up in arms about it. Yeah, and
I think that's cool though. I think what you've done these are things that could be out there right now. I mean, they've discovered other planets with water on them. They're just very far away. But I mean,
yeah.
if they did consider what you put in book one, they might want to work it out.
Well, they might, yeah. NASA, I mean, we all work together as a team. We all learn from each other, and if NASA read this and this guy's got a good idea. Jesus, well, we like this engine, what he's talking about, blah blah, this and that, but we don't like this or that, and you never know, change something. Yeah, it's the way the world turns.
Wow. Do you
Um,
ever consider writing another trilogy?
no, I don't ever consider writing another book. Period. This is the seventh book.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
and
7 books, why not write another, an eighth?
about this Alpha Centauri.
No, anything.
Well, when you're writing books, all of us have knowledge in our heads, unique knowledge. All of us do. Okay, and all of us have different types of knowledge. Mine as an engineer was all about you know space and engines and stuff, and as a guy who was always exploring underwater, I like exploring, thinking what's out there, what's around the next big rock underwater. So I put those two talents together to write this. I couldn't just write a book about anything; it wouldn't work. I'd be totally bored. You have to really be on board and interested in what you're doing, right?
Right.
I could make a fourth book of this. That would be good for me.
What do you
But
think?
huh?
Are you?
I don't know, because what am I going to do? Make everybody die and the earth goes bad and again? Right now, it's an idyllic little place.
Oh
They all
gosh.
get along. They have wonderful life.
Yeah,
So what do I
I
want
get
them to do? Have wars and fight and kill
you.
each other or
No,
drop bombs on each other? So I don't know what to say.
I hear you. I hear
Yeah,
you. Well, I mean, you never know. You might come up with something different. There
yeah,
might
you're
be
right. You're right.
visitors.
You're right. Huh?
Might be visitors.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, in the book also in the next book, we're only talking about Genesis, the book one here, but in the next book
Right.
they actually discover aliens land as well, and they
Mm,
all get along and they work together.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Wonderful. Mr. Lincoln, I mean, what kind of advice do you give to people? Because you said something really, really profound. You said that you have to write about stuff that you like, right? You can just be super bored and it's just not going to work out. So,
Yeah.
what kind of advice do you give to the new writer?
Well, I think they obviously have certain talents with certain things that other people don't have, and they need to look at that, see what that is. I need to study it for many years, and if they think that might be a cookbook, if they think people would benefit from it, what the hell, just do it. It's nothing but it's just occupying your time, and most of us have too much time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. We do have a lot of time on our hands, but hopefully we can do what you have suggested and occupy our time. Because definitely, I think people have something to give. They just don't understand what it is. And so
Um,
I love it. I love it. Mr. Lincoln,
yeah.
where can people find your book?
Well, I recommend they go to jblincoln.com.
Okay.
They can buy all my books there,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, they can also go through Amazon, but I prefer jblincoln.com because I make a lot more money, and I can actually refund them some money as well. Say 10 or 15%
There you
of the
go.
normal cost.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're going to have that JB Lincoln in the description box below. So that'll be easy for you guys to find it. That is jblincoln.com. And that
.com, yeah.
way you, huh? That's it?
Yep, I guess.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm saying I said it right, right?
Yeah, you did. That's right.
Okay, great.
jblincoln.com.
Awesome. So we're going to put that link in the description box below so that way it's easy
Thank
for you
you.
guys to find it. Oh, no problem. Anytime. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are interested in that book as much as I am, you need to go ahead and hop over to jblincoln.com and go get it. And then,
Well, I have them all printed. I have 100 books of each book printed,
oh my goodness, it's ready.
of each book. Yeah, the books. Yeah.
Ready. Definitely.
No, I had a publisher called Dorian's Publishing. They typed everything, made hard covers, and put it and bound it and everything. They did all that. That was Dorian's.
Awesome.
Then a company in California did the website for me. I,
Mhm.
I haven't sold that many books, but I haven't gone broke yet either. So we'll see what happens. Would be nice to have people buy a book, say, "Oh yeah, that was great. Really liked it." It's funny when you show your friends your books, they look at them and they go, "Mm-hmm, yeah, sure, John," because they don't know you as a book writer. They know you as somebody else.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't worry about it too much.
Don't.
I
Don't.
go back and look at the books every now and then. I go, "Wow, I said that." Like for example, in Genesis 2, the book we're talking about, book 1, and part of my research, I had to find out what the hell's in outer space, what's out there. And I found out every square centimeter has a positive charged particle in there. And you think, well, okay, so what? So I pulled my college textbook out, and I worked out the gravitational attraction between these two particles, between two of these particles, and I worked out the electromagnetic repulsion. And the electromagnetic repulsion was 9 billion times stronger. 9 billion. So no wonder the universe is expanding. All this
Wow.
positive charge is just blowing everything apart,
Oh
and
my
it's all
God.
expanding. Yeah.
Wow.
So as opposed to like gravity, where everything just comes together and sticks together like Earth and all the
Mhm.
other. Uh, so that's why everything is expanding. So it was good to
Wow.
make these discoveries.
Definitely.
Wasn't for
Definitely.
writing the book, I would have never discovered it.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting.
Yeah.
As an engineer and a scientist, that's kind of stuff that I really enjoy. But the funny thing is, when I tell universities and university professors, oh, bullshit. They don't want to know about it. If it didn't come from them, their ideas, they're totally against it.
I hear that.
Which is a
Yeah.
bit strange. It's okay. I'm used to it.
It's a crying shame.
Hmm, no big
Yeah,
deal.
definitely. Well, I tell you, this has been such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different, but most of all, don't forget to go to jblincoln.com and see if you, I mean, I like the books already and I haven't even read them yet, but I'm telling you one thing, I am in love with sci-fi and new
Yeah.
planets and all kinds of stuff. So if you are too,
Well,
let's go.
if you'd love the second book, because it's more about people and interactions and loving and fighting and adventure and new discoveries, as opposed to the first book is probably more about technology. And a lot of people turns them off.
I don't
But
know, man. I don't know. I mean,
I
there's
wanted to. I didn't want NASA shooting down my theories. You know what I mean?
I hear you,
So I
but
went to great lengths to develop and explain them. I didn't want somebody to say, "Oh, this is nonsense." You know.
right.
So that's why there is a lot of technical stuff in there.
Well, I don't know, man. This world might be coming to an end real soon. We might have to jump off this
Yeah.
ball.
But there's a good storyline. When my daughter goes to CERN, uh, she meets all these people, these young scientists, and one of the girls has had a lot of boyfriends, and the last one dumped her, and she's a bit upset. She she takes a little tiny tablet, little tiny smaller than a match out of uranium, swallows it. Her whole body turns about 3 times the size, and steam's coming out of her mouth, her ears, eye holes, everything. So
Oh wow.
there is some, I don't know what you call it, but there is some, adventure or storyline as well. It's not all just technology. Um,
Awesome. That sounds cool, man. I don't
my
know, man.
daughter gets
Might be a
assaulted.
movie.
Yeah, she gets
Might be a
assaulted on
movie.
a train. Yeah, in Melbourne where we lived, and I taught her how to be tough. I taught her how to fight and never be scared. And so she chases these guys away. That's in the book. You know,
Mhm.
they uh they would they would come up to her, "Hey love, how you going, love? How about a couple, you want a couple they were Italians, they called themselves anyway. What do they call them? Anyway, the nickname for Italians." And she goes, You like three little Italians? And she goes, no, I want two little big black guys. I had Italians last week, and they get shocked, and she's ready to punch them in the face. So there's things like that are in the book too,
Yeah, you gotta defend yourself. You do.
Huh?
You do. Wow. Well, thank you, Mr. Lincoln, again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys again so much. I'm putting that link in the description. Jump on over there. Check it out for yourself.
jblincoln.com.
That's it. Until next time, guys. Bye.
All right, thank you very much.